Oh, hey, there you are. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, father figures, and mothers that had to step up because the fathers aren't there. I actually wrote some stuff down. I never write down anything. I feel like it's going to mess up my flow, but I just wrote down some bullet points because I want to cover a couple of things in this video. I titled it Fatherless. I don't even remember. All right, there's 5 points I want to hit. I'm going to try to keep them at about 2 points each. I'm going to chop this up a little bit. Probably go sit outside. I want to talk about my childhood views and relationship with my father. I want to talk about my views after my daughter was born, my views on my father and our relationship after I cheated on my girlfriend and had another child, which my father was pretty famous for, and after he died. I'm going to, like I said, oh yeah, and then of course the message that's in the title. So hopefully I'm not too rambling. I probably will be. Stick with me. I'm realizing this is going to be some choppy, hard transition editing. Yeah, whatever. Let's get into my childhood views and relationships with on my father. Honestly, as a child, well, counting everything under about 16, 17 as a child, I admired my father, and not because he did anything, but because most kids admire their parents. You don't even really have to earn it in the beginning. But there was one thing that he did, a way he lived his life. Now, my father had what should have been a very stressful life, but he didn't stress. I made the little joke about him being famous for cheating. All right. When people have a quote-unquote bad dad, a lot of times their dad either was physically abusive or he completely walked out. This wasn't the case with my father. My mother and father my mother can be difficult. Not her fault, but you need to know how to, beside the point. What I'm getting at here is my father was always just 2-3 minutes down the road. He never lived far from me, but I didn't start going around him until I was about 9 years old. And this wasn't even by his request. This was because this is the first time I met my little brother through, the other kid that he had. Yeah, I'm going to be all over the place here. Father's Day, man, it gets me emotional, man. So anyway, around 9, I started hanging out with my little brother, and my little sister lived there, but it was me and my little brother. That's who I hung out with all the time. The setup was, I had 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters growing up. But the way it was done was 2 years after I was born, my father and mother split up almost instantly. But 2 years after I was born, my father had my little brother with another woman. Then he cheated on that woman and had my second little brother with another woman. Then 2-3 years later, he went back to that first that he had my little brother with and had my little sister. Then he went back to the second little brother and had my second little sister. As a child, I was like, what? No drama. No drama. This was the part that I admired because I was thinking, damn, that's quite a situation he has there. No drama. Now, my mother knew that my father was a Rolling Stone, so of course I didn't go around there until I was old enough to request going there, which was around 9 to hang with my little brother, and that's when all that started. Now, when I would go over there, most of the time it was just my first set of brother and sister because my second set lived 20 miles away. So they came over a little more rare. But all of my siblings called him Dad. I was the only one that referred to him by his nickname because I didn't meet him until I was 9. I mean, maybe a phone call here and there, maybe a pop-up, but no real anything, no conversation, no nothing. I'm all about talking in case you can't hear it. I need conversation. Yeah, I'm going to just give up trying to stay on track here. So he was more like a neighbor's father, They would call him Dad. I would call him by his nickname. But none of this bothered me growing up. because my mother was so strong. She stepped up and really played that role of a father. So I never felt like I was missing anything. It wasn't until I had my daughter. That's when my mindset and all started to change. And I had my daughter pretty young. I'm gonna pause this. Not only is it windy, it's much hotter out here than I thought it was. So I probably won't be out here long. But talk about. Before my daughter was born, I knew one thing, that I was going to be a fucking awesome father and be a better father than he was. Excuse my language. And not react like that to bugs when my children are around. That's how you build phobias right there. You gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. Just try to play off that I reacted like that. All right, let's get into it. It might be too hot for me to focus out here, man. So anyway, I knew being a dad was going to be easy and I knew this because I didn't dislike my dad and we had no relationship. What I knew was all you have to do as a parent is not mess the relationship up and you still have a chance. People put way too much stress on themselves as parents, and you don't need to. Unless you really damage your children or you don't make any attempt to get to know who they are, they're gonna love you. It's not that hard. It's really not. What is difficult though, and this is what I learned after having my daughter, being a parent is about being a partner. We have this phenomenon of single parenting where we're trying to make it seem that's not a good thing. You need two, and it's not about mom, dad, or this isn't a morality thing. It's just two people. When you have somebody else there who can support you when you're not feeling it energetically, who's there for the kids, when the children have that sort of once my daughter was born, I hoped that he would step up, but it was more like a hope for world peace type hope where he's not, that doesn't matter. I don't even feel like breaking this up, man. I don't like think about this stuff, man. So anyway, I'm gonna run through the last of this. I'm sorry, people. And he used to cheat all the time, and I remember how I seen my mom get cheated on, not by him, but by everybody she dated pretty much. So I knew how cheating affected people, and I told myself I would be a better father. I would never cheat. So when I cheated on my girl, when you do, we all say, I would never do this, I would never do that. When you do something you say you would never do, like when you wholeheartedly say, I would never, and I stood for that. And I got videos on that, but when it makes you hate yourself. But even with that whole crazy scenario, which I'm not going to get into, having a baby out of that, I knew one thing. I didn't care if I got raped in an alleyway by a crackhead. If there is a baby that is mine, and it wasn't this smooth and strong of a decision in the beginning, if I have a baby, I'm going to take care of that baby. There's no question about that. I don't mean send money. I mean be there. If you have a question, I am there. I'm there. My daughter comes right downstairs. My son comes downstairs. The video's going off, and I'm there. Simple as that. And I just didn't, I always told myself, maybe it's the women. Maybe that's why he won't stay with one of the family. No, being a partner takes tremendous sacrifice. And I just think that's what he wasn't willing to do. And I still have no ill will because I don't look at him as a bad person or a bad parent. I don't think parents really understand the influence they have. And I don't mean their role or responsibility to get their kids to go here and get their kids education. That stuff's important. But I mean just the impact they have every single day. Anyway, in 2012, he got hit by a drunk driver and he died. he was he had me when he was a teenager, so he was in his 40s when he died. I'm 28 now. He died in 2012, so he was like 41. And I remember he used to occasionally talk to my mom. My mother told me that he had aspiration, is that the word, to be in my children's lives, and he wanted to turn his life around. He had more children at this point. He was doing much better. He seemed to be a changed man from his Facebook account. I didn't speak to him for years up until the point he died, so for no reason. He was always 10 minutes down the road, just never called each other. That's going to tie into the message down towards the end, but I don't even remember where I was, man. I don't. After he died, it was just, I didn't. When you have a father who it doesn't, you want to, you have that, you want to get that off your chest eventually. And I never got to just ask him, what the fuck, man? Like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You want to go have sex with all these different women? Whatever. Show up, call the kid, call me. What's up, man? Like, I expected so little. And most children expect so little. Being a dad is fucking easy because of, I hate saying men are this way. Women take the brunt of but women have being a mom is such a you could be called a bad mom like that. You do anything. Oh, there's a bad mom. And I don't agree with that. But being a dad, you can come around once a month. Once a month, I would have been fine with it. I'm not that type, but I would have been fine with it growing up. And then he died. And even now, it's like, I remember we were at the funeral home. My brother asked me, did he ever say he loved you? I said, no, he's never said that. And then I asked him, did he say it to you? He said, no. What's the message, Anthony? Just be there for your kids. Talk to your kids. Money and all that stuff and having college and house and all of that stuff's important. I'm not one of those people that think it's not. But if you need proof that how you are around your children is all that matters, just think back.
So I'm in the room, I'm doing the editing, I realize it messes up at the end. I gotta add it in, the message part, it messes up at the message. I'm trying to do this editing on the phone. It's not fun. The fan, it's loud. I don't want to turn it off. It's hot. Message, be there for your kids. Don't just save the emotional stuff for the kids, right? Ain't that right, buddy? Yes. You can't just be emotional, or with the mom, that's what I meant to say. See, I meant to say the mom. We can't just save the emotional stuff for the mom, right, Caleb? Caleb, right? He knows it's right.